Please subscribe before watching the movie. Welcome back to Movies Recapped. At the start of the movie, we see Lorenzo de Lamberti running from a bunch of people chasing him through the streets of Italy. Lorenzo is a lucky gambler who never stops, but this time he's won against the wrong person. Gerbino de la Rata, the men that chase Lorenzo larger be Nos men after a long chase their corner him, but being the excellent and brave swordsman that he is, Lorenzo fights them off and insults Turbino, then runs away. Lorenzo has a crush on Pumpin A and the Aussie, the richest girl in town, and he goes there just after he escapes. Derby knows men to place flowers under Pampinia's window. The next day, as Lorenzo makes his way through town, his friends come to him and tell him that Gerbino is waiting for him. They give him a horse and tell him to ride like the wind and leave for good. As Lorenzo leaves the town, he's being chased by Gerbino's men. Lorenzo meets a man on the streets holding a dead body, and Lorenzo asks him where the road he's headed leads. After much banter and being very evasive, the man tells him that the road leads to a convent for nuns and that the dead man he's carrying on his wheelbarrow used to work there. Lorenzo then asks how a man works in a convent as it is full of virgin nuns. Man tells him that the old man was deaf and dumb, and that was why the nuns hired him as their gardener. Before he can finish talking to the man, Derby Nos men catch up to Lorenzo and he rides off. Lorenzo climbs on a tree and sent his horse along a narrow road so as to trick them into follow the horse. While he makes his escape, Lorenzo's trick works, but just as he's about to get down from the long tree, he trips on a branch and falls, knocking himself unconscious. Before he wakes up, two nuns find him and take him to the convent to take care of him. The nuns seemed very curious and lustful as they've never seen such a strong, beautiful man before. The two inquisitive nuns start kissing Lorenzo's body as he pretends to be asleep while they continue to kiss him. The head nun comes in at Lorenzo wakes up. The two nuns tell her that he has not said a single word and that they think he might be deaf and dumb. The head nun asks if he could hear her speak, but Lorenzo remembers what the man told him and pretends as if he's unable to do either. The nuns are happy, saying that he is an angel from heaven. The head nun tells them to take him to a bath, and after the two nuns take him, they make love to him and his bath. Back in town, Pampinia, his parents have died from playing, and as she prays for them, Gerbino comes in and tells Pampinia that her father was in so much debt and that he has paid off the people her father owed. Gerbino also proceeds to tell her that her father told him to protect her and that he wishes him to marry her. After his death pain, Pania refuses to do this, saying that her father wanted her to marry Counts Izinski and not Gerbino. The next morning, the girls meet up to go to the and they take the priests and their boyfriends with them. After waiting for Pompeia, they discovered that she went to a convent outside of the city to preserve her virginity and remain safe till the Russian count arrives, and what better place to do that than house full of virgins, or so she thought. As the nuns prepare her clothes, she sees Lorenzo working in the yard at the convent, and the nuns tell her that he is deaf and dumb. Meanwhile, back in the city councils, Ski arrives with an entourage, Maj carrying gifts for Pampinia and her parents. He's greeted in the causal by Gerbino, who tells him that he is her husband-to-be, and that there must be some kind of confusion. After a very long intense conversation, the Russian count leaves with his men on their way, but they are met by a messenger who gives him a letter and a map to where Pampinia is back at the convent. The girls can't get enough of Lorenzo. They take their turn making love to him as they think he's an angel from heaven sent. Pleasure them. Even the head nun asks to have him brought to her room, and she also gets her piece as the count and his men make their way to Pampinia. They're ambushed by Gerbino's men, and the men kill all of the count's other men, but the Russian count makes it out alive as he has a superior weapon at the convent. Pampinia keeps staring at Lorenzo as he works in the yard, as she's mesmerized by his beauty and his features. At lunch, she goes to bring him food alone. She covers his eyes and kisses him and runs out. Lorenzo starts to get feelings for this one nun whom he had not had till now. Anthony hears that the Russian count has arrived in Florence and that she must go and see him, but she knows that she could not leave Lorenzo behind, as she does not want others to have what she desires, and so Pampinia goes to the head nun and informs her that she heard Lorenzo singing in the garden and he can sing. That means can hear and speak as well, and so the nuns throw out Lorenzo out of the convent immediately. Meanwhile, Counts Ski is still traveling to meet his wife-to-be, but while he stops for a sip of water, he comes across a very beautiful woman. The next day, as Pampinia heads to Florence to see the count, she meets Lorenzo, and he decides to go with her as well. Once they get there, Lorenzo was about to leave until Pampinea tells him to stay for a while and Flora. Once the Count has not arrived yet and Soap and Penny and Lorenzo start to have a very delightful conversation. Lorenzo tells her that he's fallen in love with a nun at the convent. When she asks him which one, he tells her that she covered his eyes and that he did not see her face, but he's very sure that he's in love with her and that he'll know who she is if he kisses her again. And just as Pampinea was about to kiss Lorenzo to let him know that it was her, back at the convent Gerbino rides up with all his men, without any weapons on him. Lorenzo foolishly challenges and insults Gerbino, who almost kills him, until Pampinea steps in and tells him that she will not marry him if he hurts Lorenzo. And so, Gerbino throws Lorenzo in prison and tells his men to go get her priest, as he wants to be wed to Pampinea right away. Pampinea urges the priesthood delay the wedding as much as he can, as she's in love with Lorenzo and wants to be with him. The priest then proceeds to ask her about the encounter, who's still on his way, but she says her heart now belongs to Lorenzo. Gerbino's men take Lorenzo into the woods to kill him. Lorenzo knocks out both of the guards, and just he's about to head back, the Russian Count comes on horseback and asks him which way to Pandan area. Both Lorenzo and the Russian Count go to where she is asked for a Pampinia's request. The priest keeps asking the most ridiculous questions, till Counts is in ski comes riding in followed. Lorenzo and the Count fight off Gerbino's men, and when the Count was about to kill Gerbino, Lorenzo steps in saying that they have unfinished business. Lorenzo fight near a massive well, and Lorenzo beats him. After the fight is over, the Count heads over to Pampinea, thinking that she was the same girl he saw near the river, but as she removes her covering he discovers that it was not her he kissed before, but another girl who was behind her, who is actually the best friend of Bad Cania. Pampinea, his friend, and the Count kiss, and Pampinea goes to find Lorenzo, who was about to leave to find the girl in the convent. Pampinea stops him and tells him to close his eyes, and they kiss, and Lorenzo discovers that she is the one that he's in love with. And with that, they live happily ever after, and the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching till the end. We hope it was worth your time, and don't forget to like our video and subscribe to our channel for more entertainment filmy. Any movies, stick around and enjoy our other recaps on screen. See you on the next one.